sir.
Good morning.
What are we doing today?
We are going to, not really sure. They just said be at this place at 9. So we're going to some place at 9.
Okay.
Turn left.
Well, we're on our way then.
Perfect.
Nice.
The ultimate on.
Vet prepping for the win. Thank you for your service.
Most people be like, Anya fast.
Yeah, I know.
She just saw me like, you look like someone that would be speaking.
I know, you didn't even have a pass on or anything.
Yeah.
That was cool.
I just look official.
You definitely do. You definitely do look official. You look like you need to be like filmed by a lot of cameras right now.
It's funny, like going to the gym because like there's a lot of young kids that don't wear a lot.
I would have worn something nicer if I.
I know.
How are you? Good to see you. I don't know what you do.
Oh, you're right, Adam. This is not the ice mode.
Just the other night. Absolutely fantastic. 10 of the best in the world, right here at the Arnold Classic. And it's no secret that you've put out that you very much view Classic as bodybuilding. It's not like a separate thing. That's what bodybuilding should be.
Well, I mean, Classic Physique takes me back to the times when I was competing. You know, those guys are not so oversized, and it's more based on symmetry and proportions and your performance, your posing routine, and how you display this physique that you have. Because I think presentation. It's the most important thing in everything.
Won the Classic Physique division. We have Terence Ruffin here today.
Oh yeah.
Come on out, Terence.
Good to see you.
Terence, what can I say other than it was classic? Once again, my friend, you embody the very essence of the division. You came out a couple of years ago. It's almost like this was made for you.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know I turned pro in bodybuilding, and I faced a really big challenge. I didn't really fit into the 212 or the open class, and 2 years after I turned pro, Classic came along, and you know, it was a heaven sent.
Arnold, you saw some of the competition, I assume, on the Classic. I know you're all over the place throughout the weekend, but why did Terence win the show?
Well, I mean, clearly it was the best. And
Thanks for...
no, but I mean, I think, so you know what I did. I was up there the commentating booth, because I was commentating. And they wanted me to go and bring a little bit of perspective from a competitive bodybuilder side, even though there were others there too that did that. But it was great to be up there in this booth and to kind of debate with those guys about the physique that he had and that others had, and what put him over the top. And I think it was very, very close. There were some really tremendous bodybuilders this time, and with unbelievable shape. They all came in really cut. And so it was really a matter of who is going to, you know, kind of go from the pre-judging to the main judging and lose enough weight and get drier and drier and really get more and more defined. And I think that you hit that spot. I mean, it was like that sweet spot. You know, it's just the timing was perfect, everything was perfect, and so that's why he won. I mean, it was that close. And so I think he did a great performance. And then, of course, your posing. I mean, your posing was really extraordinary. The way you held your poses and the way you moved around. It was really great. So we talked about that, yeah.
You know, Terence, you know, you and I have had this conversation before. You actually have put together some of the best routines I've seen ever. And I've likened it to, you know, the old days of Sun Rayz and some of the old guys that embodied Mila Brada, some of the great names that were more on the classic side of things. But you can tell you put a lot of time and effort. And it's not always the same routine. I don't think I've seen you do the same routine twice.
Yeah, growing up, I was an artist. I painted, I sold a few paintings. I've done a lot of creative things, and this is what really drew me to bodybuilding and posing. So once I started to find out about the history, I really dived deep into it. I studied guys like Lito Brada, and now he is one of my mentors and actually, pushed me to do this show this year. I draw inspiration from everywhere, and I think it's important for people to remember that when Eugene Sandow was creating the first competition, he went to museums and looked at sculptures to kind of get an idea of what bodybuilding should be.
Well, Terence, winning the Arnold always puts you in the #1 spot to contend, of course, for the Olympia later on in the year. I think that's been established for many years now. But that means you got to go up against the champ. His name's Chris Bumstead, and he's here today. Come on out, Olympia champ. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Bumstead.
Hi, Chris. How's it going? Good.
Gentlemen, pose down.
No. I haven't shaved, I haven't dyed it. I'm a long way away from that.
All right, look how fast the excuse I haven't shaved. I don't have color on. Chris, thanks for joining us here today. So, you've got your #1 competitor here right next to you. You saw him last night. What did you think?
I mean, I've always been a fan of Terence, and I think one of my favorite things we were talking about is posing. The cool thing about that is we always relate Classic Physique to old bodybuilders, old routines, like you mentioned a few he's like. But I think what's so amazing about Terence is he's unlike any other routines we've ever seen before. The routines he's putting together, everything, the art he puts behind the creativity, is something that we've never seen before in bodybuilding. And I think in 10, 20, 30 years down the road, people are going to be looking at his routines, imitating them, which I'm grateful to be on stage with him, seeing that, and I just think it's really cool. So I'm proud of him. He's a champ last night, and he deserves it all.
Maybe you can explain it to everyone. What do you go through that you can actually master such a great routine?
So I go about it actually a little bit backwards. I found a song that I really love and it speaks to me. So originally going into the show, I had 2 different songs picked out, and when I started to practice, I kind of hit a wall. So I played this other song and I really felt it, and I was able to get to this really easily. Now when I'm choosing my poses, I like to choose things that match the music. If you notice, like during the song, she says, "I'm running out of time," so I brought my arms up like a clock. And then she said, "I'm looking at the sun," so I'm up. And then so I really think even if people don't really recognize it in the moment, they can feel that it's really connected to the song. So that's a really big thing I like to do. And besides that, I really try to use a variety of poses so it's not the same thing over and over again. So I'll do ground poses, I'll do standing poses, I'll do twisting poses to keep it entertaining and not still and not bland.
But I mean, how long do you work on it every day? So you put the music up, now you go through the routine. You go through it 5 times, you go through it 15 times, or you go through it 1 time, or what's going on there with the posing?
I practice a lot. There's this book called Outliers, and it talks about to truly be a master of something, it takes 10,000 hours. And they kind of, depending on how much you practice, it takes about a decade. So I remember when I first started, I would practice an hour every single day after the gym. Now with businesses and stuff, I don't practice quite as much as that, but I still make it a point to practice at least like every other day for at least 10 minutes in the morning and 10 minutes after my workouts. And then as I get closer to a show, I devote a little bit more time, 30 minutes every other day, just to the routine, not to just the mandatories. And then the day before, the day of the show, I practice maybe once or twice because it's ingrained in my head. I'm not gonna mess it up. I've memorized it. I can do it anywhere at any time by that point.
Right. How about you?
I'm a little bit less creative than Terence. I don't know if you have a dance background or something, but I don't have that kind of skill to move my body like that. I do it a little more in a different fashion. I start the same with you. I pick a song that I love, and then I just focus on practicing my posings for my presentation every day after the gym for like an hour. And then by the end, the routine just kind of makes itself. For me, listening to the song and knowing the transition that I like to hit, I have some inspiration I have from old bodybuilders such as Bob Paris and stuff as the groundwork and everything. But a lot of it is just me practicing general posing and transitions, and then I flow it all together at the end.
And how about what do you guys do for the practice of being ready for the actual prejudging, and then the judge, and then you have the pose-offs. I mean, there are many times you stand out there and you have to do the same pose over and over and over again, and you have to hold it for a long time, and you without shaking, because that shows immediately inferiority. So you don't want to start shaking out there, which some guys still do. But nevertheless, so what do you do in order to prepare for that? So to be able to stand there for hours and hours and be judged, and always be on, have your waist tight, have your calves flexed, have your intercostals flexed. Everything has to be always, even though you stand relaxed, but everything has to be flexed, right? And you have to have control over it. So how long do you train for that?
I mean, that's a classic joke. The front relaxed is the least relaxed pose, where you're up there stressed out. But I probably practice an hour every single day after I train, in prep at least. But what I found, which is really interesting through competing a few times, is the biggest thing that makes you shake up there and not hit your pose is usually your nerves and your breathing. So when you're not present and you're like in the moment and like breathing and relaxed and confident, knowing that you are the best one up there, people are looking at you, like just that confidence, that just instills into your body just standing like a statue, and it just happens naturally. Whereas when you're nervous, that's when you see guys shaking, they're shallow breathing up in their chest, and that really translates into your posing. So sometimes it's all just about believing yourself, being confident, and breathing.
I agree. I think that's understated, training your mind. I think it's a very important part of bodybuilding. We always talk about improving our body, but bodybuilding is also about improving your mind and your spirit and all facets of your life. And as you can see, it makes a big deal. As for me, posing-wise, I like to practice, be able to do more than what's required of me on stage. So I know about around how long I'm going to be on stage and how long I'm going to be posing. So I definitely try to do twice as much. So I'm not tired because I've done more. I've done it. It's been harder backstage or in practice than it is on stage.
Thank you all for coming
Well, Arnold,
every year.
well,
We really appreciate it. And we'll be back next year, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Give it up for the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Nice.
What's up, man?
I ain't got to say nothing to you, man. Congrats.
Appreciate it, bro.
Absolutely, man. Beautiful routine.
Thank you, man. I
Beautiful.
want to do something different this time, a little bit slower, you know?
Yeah, I love the song choice. I love the transitions. That's what I noticed was there was so much. I was able to utilize so much more of the slow movements.
I think, yeah.
You know, the thing like the Survivor, it was like it's so like what it's almost like eccentrically paced where it's like slow, fast, slow, fast. And it was just like, holy shit, like, am I going to take good photos or not?
I get you, yeah.
I'm out to Germany, teach me some posing.
But no, man, I just wanted to, seriously, congratulations, buddy. Well deserved, man.
Dude, honestly, man, like, being on the stage with, like, Ronnie and Lee and Arnold, it was a lot, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God. I was like, rushed, like flooded with emotion and happiness and gratefulness, and it was like, man, I can't believe I'm up. I was like, man, Ronnie, your DVD was the first DVD I ever bought.
Yep.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Arnold talking to me, and I was like, it was crazy, man.
And like complimenting you and shit,
Yeah.
and like appreciating your art, you know.
It was.
That's cool.
And listening to what I have to say.
Yeah.
You know, it was something. Yeah, I'm like, man, I'm really up here.
Yep.
Know?
Yeah, for sure.